Okay, so on to question 8. Question 8 was not quite done as well, and I think partly people misread, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, this equation. Y equals minus x add 2. Some people just did x add 2, not minus x add 2. So let's start with the beginning. So the first x is minus 3. So minus x. So minus x add 2 is what I'm doing. Yeah? So when x is minus 3, that's minus minus 3, add 2. X is minus 1, minus minus 1, add 2. X is 1, minus 1, add 2. X is 3, minus 3, add 2. X is 5, minus 5, add 2. Now let's calculate the answer to these. So minus minus becomes a positive. If I take away a negative, it becomes positive. So 3 add 2 is 5. Again, with a minus minus, that becomes a positive 1. 1 add 2 is 3. This is not a minus minus, it's going to stay negative. So minus 1 add 2. So if I owe somebody 1 and I give them 2, I'm now positive 1. I'll fill that 3 in. So if you owed the bank £1, you give them 2, you'd have 1 positive. Okay, so minus 3 add 2. So you owe the bank 3, you add 2 to your account, you still owe them 1. Lastly, you owe the bank 5, you give them 2, you still owe them 3. So there's now my numbers. You could still get marks for here if you plotted whatever you wrote here. So if you wrote it wrong here and you thought some marks, it might be as long as you plot what you wrote, you would get marks for this graph. So even if these were all totally wrong, as long as you plotted what you had done correctly, you still get points for this next bit. So minus 3, 5. So minus 3 along, 5 up, so that should be there. Minus 1, 3. 1, 1. 3 minus 1, so x is 3, y is minus 1. 5 minus 3, so 5 minus 3. Now, we should be using a ruler to do this as a lovely straight line. There you go, there's my lovely straight line. This was worth 2 marks. If you didn't draw a line, you'd lost a mark. If you just draw a line of crosses, you only get 1. The line is where the second point comes from. Right, what is the gradient of the graph y equals minus x plus 2? Remember, that's y equals mx plus c. M is the gradient. What is in front of the x? It's just a minus. So that is 1x. So it's a minus 1. Because that is 1x. Which one is steeper? So look at what's in front of the x. We've got a minus 2 or we've got a minus 1. So this gradient is minus 2. This gradient is minus 1. So this will be steeper because its gradient is minus 2. So for every 1 square long, you're going down 2, as opposed to for every 1 square long, only going down 1. So, yes, it's steeper, as its gradient is minus 2. Some people have gone on to say for every 1 along, it goes down 2. Okay. Right, question 9. Question 9. Write an expression in terms of x for the area of the trapezium. An expression is something that'll have an x in it, will have other things in it as well, some numbers or something, but no equal sign. An equation has an equal sign. An expression is just a few terms together with no equals in there. Right, the area of a trapezium. The area of a trapezium is half A add B times height. A and B is like the top and the bottom, the ones that are different lengths to each other. The height is the difference between those two parallel lines. So the parallel sides are A and B, not the non-parallel sides. The parallel sides are A and B. Height is the distance between those A and B. So I've got a half. The top one, x add 3, add the bottom one, x add 1, times the height, which is x. Let's add these together. X add x is 2x. 3 add 1 is 4, times x. Let's half it. Half of 2 is just 1. Half of 2 is 2. I'm still times it all by x. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. So that final answer there is x squared plus 2x. That is worth 2 marks. As long as you tried to use the formula for trapezium, you got the first mark. Second mark is then for simplifying it correctly. I will continue question 10 on the next video.